So hey everyone, it's Alex here from Own Your Quiet, and after a little bit of an intro silence, we're kicking off. So to all of you out there who are tuning in, this is my weekly live Q&A for all the introverts who are looking for support, ideas, tips in developing a digital marketing strategy, because no matter where we are in our entrepreneurial journey, digital marketing something that always presents new and sometimes unexpected challenges to us. So the Q&A today is an opportunity to discuss whatever's on top of your mind. Now, for me today, what's top of mind is something that came out of a discussion I had earlier on, and that's around some of the labels that have been applied and are applied to different aspects of digital marketing. So these are labels such as personal branding, sales funnels, and niche. These are all words, phrases that have been concocted in the marketing world over many, many years. And I must confess, I'm a marketing professional with well over, sadly, 20 years of experience in the marketing industry. And I can tell you that marketing and marketing professionals are the world's best at coming out and coming up with these types of labels that mean a lot inside the industry but don't always mean a lot and carry a lot of value to the many people outside of the industry who still have to make marketing part of their everyday business. So it's top of mind today because in my journey to challenge a lot of these more extrovert driven ideals around marketing, labels is one thing that I think we could do with having a much closer look at, and to examine and determine if there's a way that we can reframe our thinking about these labels and potentially even rename the labels as well. So let's start with personal branding. That's one that we come across every single day. We are all told that as coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, we got to develop a personal brand. Well, what the heck is a personal brand really? Because when we deconstruct it, it's all really about the value that we are offering others, isn't it? The personal bit, is the difference between a brand, like a physical product, and a brand through the lens of us as individuals. Now, that label, personal branding, can be intimidating to a lot of people, and quite possibly the more introverted, because it kind of requires us to look inwardly and kind of think about, well, what is it that I'm actually offering of value? What are the experiences and the expertise that I have that's valuable to others? Now, here's the thing, it's not that we don't have huge amounts of value and expertise, it's the fact that it's very hard for us to translate that into something really tangible that others can relate to. Now, it's a difference between the much more extroverted who are very happy talking about themselves, very happy highlighting all their achievements, and us as more introverts who kind of just keep that under the hood, so to speak, because it's not something that really energizes us. If that makes sense. It doesn't energize us because we don't get our energy by showing off, by promoting ourselves and promoting what we've done to others. Our energy comes inwardly, and it also comes from the satisfaction of helping other people, not ourselves, which can sometimes be where we fall down a little, because when we're so focused on helping others, we kind of lose sight of the value that we're actually creating, and that comes back to this thing about personal branding. So personal branding as a label can be quite uncomfortable when we think about it. So there is a better way and a better strategy to go about things in terms of achieving the outcome that personal branding is ultimately trying to achieve. And that really is, rather than us get bogged down in trying to develop all the content and the words and the phrases that become part of a personal brand, that including, but certainly not limited to, our online profiles, our bios, and a lot of the other content that sits around what we do. We do what we do best. We play to our strengths, and we just ask others, just very courteously and non-threateningly, to let them tell our story for us. Because ultimately, the more people that can tell our story for us, in terms of how we're helping them and the value we're creating, the stronger the quote-unquote personal brand is going to be. So asking others, again, can feel like a intimidating step in itself, because that means asking for, oh, well, is it a testimonial? Is it a recommendation? Well, again, let's just pause and put these labels to one side, because every single label underneath it has a whole set of beliefs and connotations associated with it, and just think about it through the lens of a conversation. And it's a conversation you would want to have with someone that you've helped, someone that you've created value for, created impact, and just ask them, without putting a label against it, tell me a little about what it was I did or I'm doing to help you. And in their own words, that then becomes part of the jigsaw puzzle that starts to come out as, again, a quote-unquote personal brand. But let's kind of move away from the personal brand. It's a personal brand. What is it? It's just the story about the difference you're making in other people's lives. And it's the emotional components of that are the most important part, because like any brand, it's the emotional connection we have with a brand, be it a soft drink, cookies, chocolate bar, whatever it might be, it's that emotional connection, isn't it? So that emotional connection in the context of what we offer as a brand is best achieved by other people telling our story for us. So rather than us trying to create our own story, which is introverts, it's just really challenging for us to do. So do we have a different name for personal branding? I kind of don't know. I think it's something that, with the right thought, can be renamed. Branding is something that, of course, is very hardwired in the marketing industry. So I welcome your thoughts on whether there is a different way we can think about it and a different name that we can give to personal branding to make it feel more approachable and kind of motivational to us introverts out there. So that's personal branding. What else can we talk about? Well, another one that kind of gets my goat quite a bit is sales funnels. Now, sales funnels, gosh, where to begin? Sales funnels, it's all about getting clients ultimately, isn't it? And the funnel is the name that's used because you're pushing all these people through this funnel, from those who are vaguely interested to all the way through to those who become proper clients that are paying us money to work with us. But again, funnel is quite a harsh name, isn't it? When we think about funnel, a funnel is a physical thing that, it's less about putting people through funnels. Funnels traditionally, historically, are what you put things through, don't you? You could pour water through a funnel, a liquid through a funnel. You kind of don't push people through a funnel. It kind of seems uncomfortable, to be honest. I mean, when you think about it, if you knew nothing about a sales funnel and you were being told for the first time that the objective that someone has for you is to push you or pull you through a funnel, how would you feel about that? It doesn't sound particularly great, but nonetheless, that's what the sales and marketing industry kind of looks at it. That's how it looks at it. We treat everything as a funnel. And I'll tell you what, because I've seen this so much over the years, a funnel looks great in a PowerPoint slide. And that's partly why it's used, I think, because ultimately, if you're a sales director or a marketing director, what you're looking for is something nice and graphical that shows you how all these prospects, quote unquote, are being progressed through this funnel to become clients. So it's a lovely visual thing using the term funnel, but it doesn't kind of feel particularly comfortable when it's being applied to you as a potential client. And to turn it the other way, if we are the coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs who are building our client base, how comfortable are we using that sort of terminology? So sales funnel is the terminology that's used today, but we can, I think, rename and relabel that, and rename it, relabel it in a more approachable way. And again, this is something I want to throw out to you guys in terms of, is there a better name for it? I think ultimately, as introverts, we see ourselves much more as serving people rather than selling to people. And in that sense, let's kind of think about the funnel bit rather than a funnel, and just think about it being as a progression of a conversation. So a conversation that begins at a higher level and then gradually progresses to something deeper, because let's remember, as introverts, the one thing that we do best is get to that deeper conversation. That's what we enjoy because it really triggers the brain chemistry, that we love to, explore and really deep dive under the surface of things to really get to the crux of the matter, so to speak, rather than the shallow side of things. So perhaps rather than using funnel, let's think about it differently and think about it through the lens of a progression of a conversation that ultimately leads us to a point where we've reached a decision where we're able to serve our clients in the way that they want. So there you go, sales funnel. There's one to think about. There's one to ponder. Niche is a third one that also comes up a lot in the marketing industry, and we're told that we all need to find our niche or our micro niche or niche, depending on which part of the world you happen to live in, but ultimately it's one and the same thing. What we're trying to do is find that group of people, a group of businesses that we want or most want to work with. Okay, so that's all it is. Does it need to be called a niche? No, it doesn't at all. What it could be called is the community of our ideal clients. It's not quite as catchy as niche, but ultimately, if as introverts we are most comfortable and more comfortable working and building a community, then let's do that. Let's not call it a niche, let's call it our ideal community of clients. And then we can focus on developing that ideal community of clients through a gradually, progressively deeper conversation, i.e. not a sales funnel, because we don't need to see a funnel on a PowerPoint slide. What we want to see is how that conversation or conversations is evolving through those ideal clients. So it softens everything, because the words that we're using today are quite harsh and can be quite resistive. So there's niche. Let's reframe niche. Let's rename niche. Let's think about it as our ideal clients, as a community that we want to build up, and we can be at the center of that community, because again, the one thing that we enjoy doing as introverts is kind of gently connecting people. We might call it mindful networking or conscious networking, because we get, and I can speak to this, and hopefully you can as well when you think about it, what really does light us up, and it comes back to this helping people. Part of helping people is helping people to connect, and through those connections there are shared experiences, shared knowledge, shared vulnerabilities, and so forth. So our job is to consciously just do that connection and help the community start to grow without us having to be the centre of attention, so to speak, when it comes to every single member within that community. The community itself starts to grow and build its own momentum, and we are there as what you might describe as shepherds, shepherdesses, or the farmers, to make sure that everyone is getting along, everyone is getting value from the community. And hey, lo and behold, the value they're getting from the community is value that not only we are helping to create, but they're creating for themselves. So what that does is actually removes a lot of this pressure about selling, selling into a quote unquote niche. And it comes back to this idea of serving. We're serving our community. The community love us because we are the people, as the quiet introverts, who are bringing these other people together, who may be introverted, may be extroverted, but we are doing that job of gradually bringing them together. And our ability to ultimately position ourselves as a key person of influence and authority happens through that process, not us being a hunter and going out and trying to hunt down every single potential lead. Well, there's another word, lead. Oh, we'll maybe come back to that another day. But leads. Actually, I can't resist. So leads, where does that one come from? I think we might think about leads as something that a cop, police officer, detective would be interested in. I'm tracking down the leads for the crime, aren't I? But suddenly leads has found its way into the sales and marketing lexicon as well. So now, as business owners, what we're supposed to be doing is hunting down all these different leads. Well, again, imagine, just reposition this a sec. As I say, I can't resist getting stuck into this one for a few minutes. Imagine that you were the person that the salesperson, no, imagine that you are the lead, i.e. the person that someone else is looking to basically track down and turn into a client. How would you feel about being a lead? To me it would feel like I'm somewhat of a criminal. So again, there's some crazy names that are used in this marketing industry, and I quite honestly think it's time that we really reframed and renamed. I think I'll trademark that little phrase, reframe and rename. So anyway, I went off track a little bit. So niche is one that we can reframe into community. Let's just think about building our community, because that's all it is. Let's do it our way. Let's play to our strengths. There's ample opportunity to do that. We don't have to play by standard sales and marketing playbooks. Let's take our own approach, go deep rather than wide, and we can attract the type of clients who really want to work with us, and who will happily pay us and pay us premium for doing that. So for today, the sort of top of mind theme has been sales and marketing labels. We've got plenty to choose from. What I want to do with your help and contributions is start to rename or reframe and rename them, and then through that we'll start to develop a more approachable way of doing marketing, digital marketing, that enables more introverts, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs to get fully engaged with it, be comfortable with it, and most of all to do it consistently and effectively. So we're just about done for today. Welcome your comments off the back of this, and we'll see you same time next week, 5 p.m. UK time, for another live Q&A. And if you have any questions ahead of it, feel free to comment or message me directly, and I'll be happy to help, because as always, my job as the introvert digital marketing coach is to take the weight off your shoulders, let you focus on doing what you do best, and I'll help you to make sure that your marketing becomes a whole lot more easier and enjoyable. So, till next time, that's it. Goodbye.